Welcome to the Savage Nation. It's kind of blues after the Thanksgiving feast. The people you love the most have all gone home. They came in to see you. Maybe you were alone altogether, or maybe you still have family and friends around. I don't know. But to me, it's a gloomy, cold night here in Northern California. And I just took my white van down to Sausalito to buy some wine that I really enjoyed. Walked around the empty piers. There's nobody out there. It's like, where is everybody? You know what I'm saying? If you care to join the conversation, you can't, but you can comment. You can comment by typing stuff and, try to keep it within the realm of reality here. We don't want to see stupid stuff. I'm not interested in politics right now. If I were, I'd be doing a political show. I'm just calling it. But, you have to have a background in jazz to understand what I'm doing. If you don't understand jazz, the great jazz of the 40s, 50s, even into the 60s, this show is not for you. Please go away. You got to understand, if I say blues after the feast, it's based upon music. It's not based upon politics. It's based upon a musical theme. You think of Chet Baker, probably unknown today, one of the greats. You think of Charlie Parker. You think of John Coltrane. You think of some of the great jazz performers of the golden era of great American jazz. And that's what I'm doing, because I was thinking about it, like, who influenced me the most? I mean, as a child, we're influenced by a certain variety of influencers. Influence is interesting. Who are my influences as a child? Roy Rogers, Tom Mix, Howdy Doody, Buffalo Bill. But then when you're not a child, you become a kid, then a teenager, another set of influencers. Then you go to college, another set of influences. You read the great philosophers. You meet some teachers who influence you. Then you leave college. Again, you go out into the world and you're influenced, of course, by your friends all along the way, which is so important, of course, as you know, who you let your kids hang around with. Probably the most important thing is blocking them from really bad people. And then you go out into the world, and again, your influencers change along the way. And so here I am. Who's my influencers now? I don't have any. I don't have any influencers right now. And I think about it. I'm not influenced by anyone on the earth. I think for myself at this stage of my life, and I observe. I watch the world go around. And I don't really have any. I'm the influencer. I influence a lot of people who follow me, 700,000 people, whatever the number may be. And they've been with me for a very long time. And they want to hear what I have to say about things. Now, behind me is Teddy and me. I'm going to move around a little bit. Cars, dogs, food, wine. So the next cut on this tape goes from the opening soliloquy on Blues After the Feast. We'll go into pets. Sky is full of chemicals. Oh, stop, man. Stop with the chemtrails. There are so many wackos out there. Can't you stop it? Plastic in the water, chemtrails in the sky, lesbians in the soup, madmen in politics. Stop already. There's a bigger world out there. So, as I was trying to say, along the way, I wrote some books. And one of the books was called Teddy and Me. Not in print. I'm not selling it. I wish I could. What a great book it would be. You can't find it. I had to buy them myself online. So I had a great photographer come out, Vince Romini. I haven't kept in touch with him. And he took pictures of Teddy and me in this book that are bonded on the best pet pictures ever done. So in the book, Teddy and Me, this picture appeared as a print of Teddy and me he wasn't drinking, but he was with me in this place I hang around in for many years. And the woman who bought the book loved it. I guess it was this picture right here. Ted, I'm feeling no pain. Is that the one that she painted? Well, she took one of these pictures and painted it. It's a little glare. So it's a place I actually ate in for Thanksgiving. I know the owner. I knew before he went to heaven. I know his son who runs it. It's a Basque place somewhere in the middle of Nowhereville. And we went up there with 7 people. Had a beautiful night. And number 2 is, and to all a good, no, that's the end of this panel. Let me go to the beginning. of Teddy and me. Here it is. Bingo. At last, relief has arrived. So see Teddy's face? Look at that face. Look at the eye. She caught it all. Look at this. So I don't know who the listener was. She painted this picture and sent it to me, and I don't even remember receiving it. It was in storage somewhere, and about a year ago, I got it out of storage. It wound up in my hands, and there it was. I wish I knew who the woman was, but she really caught the essence of that picture. So the first panel is, at last, relief has arrived, and there's Teddy smiling at me. And I say, Teddy is a part of me. I'm a part of him. It's number 2, Teddy, and away we go. So that was the next in the panel. We were wearing the same coats, by the way. Somehow, that beautiful coat I have, which is a Boss coat, by the way. I don't know. We got one for the dog somehow, somewhere. It's number 2, Teddy, and away we go. Number 3 is Ted, I'm feeling no pain. That must have been number 4. And then we go on to the last one in the sequence. And to all a good night, Ted, did you call Uber? I don't know who that is in the background, but look at him. See the coat? Look at that. The same coat. You talk about father and dog. I still have the same coat. I still have the same hat. Well, those were moments to cherish with my dog, who's been in heaven quite a few years now. Many people say, hey, where's Teddy? I haven't heard you in years. I'm glad to hear you're still around. What are you doing these days? I say, oh, thank you very much. Teddy's in heaven. So that's number 2, story 2. Now we go to the next cut on the album. We go from cut number 1, which is Blues After the Feast. Cut number 2 is Humans and Dogs. Cut number 3 on this tape is number 3. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, Cars. We go to Cars. I found these books again, and this is an interesting car. I owned it. I sold it about 3 years ago, along with my other Jaguar 4 years ago. Who knows? Time is now a blur, like an accordion. I had these 2 beautiful vintage Jaguars, which I kept in immaculate showroom condition. I had this rebuilt from the ground up. I didn't rebuild it. I had a local shop, rebuild the engine. And this car was one of the most beautiful machines I ever owned, the Jag XKE. You can't duplicate these analog gauges, the way the thing handled, the independent rear suspension. And the engine was torn down and rebuilt from the ground up. You know, British engineering was so bad at that time that if you wanted to replace the clutch on the car, you had to the engine had to come out of the engine bay. Would you believe it? So they had to remove the engine, which was going to cost a lot of money to put in a clutch. Now, the clutch hadn't gone, you see, but it was near the end of its life. And I figured, what the hell, pull it out before I end on the side of a road. So I figured, look, I'm pulling the engine. We may as well redo. Where is this? If I'm going to redo the engine while it's out, why don't we just do the top, the head, then the head, then I pull out the pistons, replace the rings, then replace the bearings, then replace the this and the that. I said, you know what? Now let's go down the drive shaft. So I went down the drive shaft and I said, pull out the rear end. Lucky I did. It was like powder. So I had the whole car rebuilt from top to bottom. Then a year, drove it another couple of years. It was a great car. Sold it, gone. But let's go back to this one. This one I showed you last week. Not that interesting. An Americana, 19 feet, 8 inches long, of majesty. This was the age of, Milton Berle. This was when people lived in a Hollywood show. You know, if you got it, flaunt it. Now they don't even go out with a watch in their hand because the street animals will rob the watch off their hand in an outdoor restaurant. So no one shows their wealth in LA unless they're totally insane or they have bodyguards. So people don't even wear watches out of their house. They have to wear them in their houses. It's like America's become like Brazil. Kidnappings are next. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. The gangs are out of control. I hope Trump blasts Venezuela into the Stone Age and puts a stop to the drugs. And while he's at it, he ought to do it to a few other countries south of the border and send them all home while he's at it, too. Because I really would like to wear a watch when I go out to dinner. Now, who would drive around in a car like this in this day and age in LA, for example? in the land of the insane people of LA. How they ever elected a mayor called this Karen Bass, I'll never know, she's like a commie from Cuba. Another one of the leftist Democrats who spent a lot of their holidays in Cuba celebrating the campesinos, the sugar cane pickers, and then try to destroy the country that gave them everything that they wanted. So they let animals in the street who spit in the face of white women. Did you see that story today? I said I wouldn't do politics, so I won't do politics, you see. There was this black guy, if I may say, who went through the streets of New York spitting in the faces of white women for no reason. Well, he got a beating. It's in the New York Post and a couple other sites I saw it. I think some other black guys beat the shit out of him. They were pummeling him in the street. I'm talking a beating, and they said things I can't repeat right now, but they said, "You're making us look bad." It was other black guys who beat the shit out of this black son of a bitch, pardon me, who was walking around randomly spitting in the face of white women. Just a racist animal who belongs behind bars. Well, he got his, I'm talking not punched. These are strong guys. They beat him to a pulp. It's going to come down to that when we have Mondami in office in New York who says we need social workers to stop the crime in the streets. Now, what would a social worker have done? How are you today, Mr. Johnson? And then the guy would have spit in the social worker's face and probably bashed the social worker's nose in. So they would have called another social worker, another communist fool, who would have talked to Mr. Johnson, asked him if he needed anything like a turkey sandwich. No, that's not going to work any more than talking to Madeira in Argentina is going to work. The only thing is going to work is one of the 10 aircraft carriers with a battle fleet, and F-21s or what the hell they fly, F-18s, Hornets, they fly off those decks. I remember it was on the Stennis. I think they're still flying Hornets off the decks. So they'll start with the Tomahawks. If that doesn't stop the flow of drugs, the next thing will be the long-range airplanes. They'll fly the jets in, and then they're going to just go in. We're going to drop special forces in, and they're going to kidnap some of the drug lords. And, Trump is on the warpath. There's no question about it. Cut number 3, or is it cut number 4? Well, cut number 4, before I hit the door, is this old relic. So I had at the same time, I always loved this model, the XK150. Pardon you for the reflection. This was a black beauty. I bought this in LA. Speaking of LA, it was in a showroom in LA. And I really freaked out over the car when I saw it. It was probably showroom condition. XK150. Unbelievable. So I saw it in the showroom. This was a 1958 Jaguar XK150. I'll tell you why I've always wanted that car. This was a smaller engine than the other. It was a 3.8 liter, but a twin SU carburetors. You can see them here if you're into engines. Twin SUs. The other had triple SUs. And everything about it was beautiful. This was a soft car. Look at the dashboard. Let's see. Show you the dashboard. Anyway, everything was soft about the XK150. It handled like an ice cream truck. It was horrible. And it had the worst transmission in history. The first gear was not synchromesh. It was like you had to grind your way into first gear. You had to double clutch your way up and down the gears. But once you got this thing rolling, the Abarth exhaust that was on it was like a harmonium. It was unbelievable. So I had this car. I used to enjoy it very much. And I sold this one at the same time I sold that one. I got rid of both of them at the same time. And I said, look, what do you need this for? What do you need this headache for? And the mechanic left the neighborhood. But I bought that car just before I finished cut number 4 of this particular show, Blues After the Feast. This is called Cars. Because when I was a poor kid and became a young teenager and then went to college and then got out of college and then was a teacher, I could only afford a used Jaguar. So I bought a 5-year-old maroon XK150 in Queens. And my friends had like Triumphs. I don't know what else they were driving. And my car was a maroon XK150. I never forget to this day the night we all drove it into the city after a Thanksgiving dinner. I guess that's what I'm thinking about it. And there was a light snow starting to fall on the streets. And we raced into Central Park. And I remember racing through Central Park with the top down. It was one of the most, I mean, I'm still remembering it, right? Top down, Central Park, light snowfall, throwing yourself into a controlled skid. It was beautiful. Beautiful. And then back to the apartment someone had in Manhattan. Who the hell knows who had an apartment in Manhattan then? And we were in there. Then I came at about 2 a.m. and I couldn't get the car started. It was locked in first gear. It was unbelievable. I had to leave my car that overnight, and then I worried about it all night. You know, you're a poor kid. This is your big possession. That's the end of the car story. Boom. So now we go to the next thing, which is food. This one's called Food and Relatives, Food and Relatives, Food and Friends. And here we go. So I was up at a certain location, you see, and I found some objects up there, including this old tie, which I used to wear in the radio days back on KSFO. I remember I bought this tie. It was very expensive. It was a big deal. It was a food tie. Now, nobody would wear a tie like this today, but I said, wow, look at this beautiful tie. Maybe I will wear it one of these days for a show I'll do on food. Who made this? I don't even know if they're in business. Probably not. We're talking about a long time ago. Nicole Miller, 1993. Okay, so she made her. So it was a food tie. And since I'm into food, I figured I'd wear it one night when I was doing cooking. But since I'm not cooking right now, I'm just going to wear the food tie over my vest while I talk to you about food and how food shapes culture. And now we go to cut number 6 of today's jazz show. Blues After the Feast is the name of the album. But I wanted to talk with you tonight about food. You hear idiots talking about I take micro doses of this, I take micro doses of that. This has this vitamin, that has that vitamin. Look, I'm into it. I wrote all the books going back to the 70s. So I'm very aware of nutrients. But one thing that you're missing, those of you who are thinking that you're curing yourself in the world by obsessing on what you're putting in your yap, is that food carries more than mere nutrients. Food carries more than mere nutrients. See, I made these notes this morning. I wasn't ready to do it today. Food carries whole cultures. Food carries family. Food carries memories. And those things are very important. And you have to understand that you eat the right foods and take the right vitamins, still drop dead of a heart attack because your life is so empty, you want to die anyway. Now, food, as you well know, reflects cultures, identity, so many different ways. Food and culture are deeply intertwined. Do I have to tell you that? Food expresses identity. It builds community. It passes down traditions through generations. Maybe your mother made a certain dish that was an ethnic dish for you, whatever your ethnicity may be. You may not know it, but it may not even be your ethnic dish, but you think it is. Let's say your mother's Italian. You were Italian. She made lasagna. Okay, lasagna was a holiday feast food. It wasn't eaten every day. Italians ate simple foods every day. I've tried to tell you that. The traditional Italian diet is not what you get in an Italian restaurant. That is holiday food. That's wedding food that you're eating. Jewish food is not Jewish food. It's Polish holiday food. Jewish food is Yemenite food. It's pita bread. It's hummus. It's some vegetables and things like that. It's the grain diet, which people don't want to accept as the fundamental essence of diets around the world, is built around a grain, whether it be wheat, rice, corn, sorghum, rye. These are the basic elements of diets around the world, with vegetables when they were in season, they could be gotten, and very small amounts of animal protein like cheese. They didn't kill the cow. They made the cheese from the milk. And now we're eating the whole cow, telling ourselves we're such geniuses. Okay. So food reflects and shapes cultures. For example, we just came through Thanksgiving. You're probably eating the leftovers tonight. Turkey. Turkey for Thanksgiving. Turkey, turkey, turkey. Is that an American food? Where the hell did the turkey come from? Well, we should talk about the turkey. The turkey is a very interesting, you could look it up for yourself. I don't want to give you an anthropological lecture, but the turkey is an American animal. The wild turkey is still found. In fact, where I live there on the roads, you see them going by in whole families. So What happened was in the 1600s or the 1500s, the Spaniards came over here and they took turkeys back to Europe and they started breeding them into a different animal altogether. But the turkey is an American food. Don't fool yourself. I feel bad for the turkey, by the way. So what the hell? You don't have to follow my move. But if you're in Tunisia, you eat a dish called harissa. In Jordan, you eat al-mansaf, a festive banquet. Ukrainians like to eat borscht. In Uzbekistan, they eat palov. Arabic coffee, you say coffee. Of course, it's coffee Arabica. The Arabs discovered coffee where? When they conquered Ethiopia, they found the coffee bean being used by the locals into a sort of hot beverage, and they made it into their own thing, an Arabic coffee. And it's a symbol of generosity all through the Arab world. Saudi Arabia, Oman, Qatar, and the UAE, they all serve coffee to guests. You go into an Italian home in Italy, the first thing to do is offer you coffee. So this came from the Arabs, of course. And traditional food is an integral part of cultural identity. Not only the food, but the preparation techniques, how it's cooked, the social customs around the serving of the food remind us of the past and provide us a connection to historic and cultural roots, as you well know. As I just mentioned, in Italy, for example, food is not just about eating and sustaining yourself, but also about family, community, tradition. And Italians, though, I have to tell you, have a great culinary history that we all love. Dates back to ancient, probably pre-Roman times, with important traditional dishes that didn't even exist in those times that have now become part of American food, which was not really part of Italian food at that time. The Italian food experience, as you know, any other ethnic food experience, centers not only on the food and on the taste, but on sharing meals with loved ones, with friends, and the pleasure of cooking. I do cooking shows. I love cooking. I find cooking very relaxing. And cooking is very beautiful. Do I have to tell you about Japanese food and Japanese culture? Not only do the Japanese carry their culture and their cultural identity for their food, but the presentation of Japanese food is very important. It's an art form. Japanese food culture pays attention to the aesthetics and symbolism of food and honors culturally rooted respect for nature and tradition, something that we don't do in the West at all anymore. There's almost no aesthetics in Western food. I mean, I don't have to make a mockery of it, but you understand that. And most cultures have a national dish that's associated with them. For example, you think Japan, you think sushi. Is it really a modern food? I don't really know. Paella in Spain, basically a fisherman's stew is what paella is. The men cooked, they brought the fish back, they put a big cooking pot over a wood fire, and they got the water boiling. They threw the rice in, and they threw the seafood in, they threw the spices in. That's paella. Pizza in Italy, is it really an Italian food? Is spaghetti really Italian? It came from China, by the way. Did you know that spaghetti originally originated in China? Incidentally, I was shocked when I learned that 30 years ago. But so what's tradition? It depends upon what you know and what you've experienced. But here in America, where it is a melting pot, we have overlapping cultural identities with different foods. Pizza, tacos, sushi, staples of American culture as represented by the fast food chains, diverse backgrounds of the citizenry of the American. And it's a cultural blending that's overlapping into different dishes. So at your Thanksgiving dinner, you may have had a turkey plus, I don't know, tacos, or a turkey plus sushi. Who knows what you had? And then you look at New Orleans, Louisiana, which has a very intense, complex cuisine, the Cajun food, the Creole cuisine, right? Do I have to tell you that food plays a significant role in social interactions and rituals? Didn't it do so for you over this weekend? Weddings, birthdays, holidays, you get together with your people and you pass down traditions from generation to generation, preparation and sharing of food, things like that. So I think we've covered that. The turkey is an American food. It was a wild turkey that was brought back to Europe and then turned into a different kind of animal, a variety of turkey. And now we come back to the beginning where I began, which is it's Saturday Night Blues. Most have gone home. My friends and family have gone back home. One got back already 3 in the afternoon. The other one's still on a plane. He won't be home till tonight. And I went to buy some stuff, some wine I drank at the Thanksgiving feast that I brought to you. I bought it in the market, a Barolo. I tried it. I liked it very much. It went perfectly. I never drink in the afternoon. That day I drank at 3:30, 4 o'clock. I opened a beautiful Barolo. It was great. And so then the next night, I opened a different Barolo that cost twice as much and it was half as good. You see, it's very hard to find a wine that's good until you try them. So I found out where I bought that first wine. It was not in a chain store. It was in a local market. And I called them and they put aside 6 for me, you see. And now I have that wine in the little wine area in my little house. And as soon as I get off the microphone tonight, I'm going to open that wine. I'm going to put it into a carafe. And I'm going to make the simplest dinner imaginable because I've been overeating. Now, I got to tell you, I'm on a no-meat diet for many years. Before I went into radio, I was a regular American, ate a lot of meat, grew up on a lot of meat. I'm not going to tell you what I think of it because you know what I think of it. And I know many of you are brainwashed into thinking a heavy meat diet's good for you. Good for you. I hope you live to 100, but you won't. If you make it past 75, you're going to be lucky. You're going to blow your kidneys out and have a heart attack probably, and a little colon cancer to go with it. I hope not, but that's what's going to happen. The data is true, and it shows you that colon cancer and red meat consumption is directly related. But don't believe me. Listen to some girl on Instagram who has nice abs today and is dead tomorrow. So I was off meat before I went into radio in 94, and then when I needed the energy for the radio, shall I put on the, let's see what the light does for me now. It's getting a little darker out there. You like the light on me or not? Is it better? So anyway, when I went into radio down on Front Street, KGO building, the ABC building, nearby was a Chinese restaurant, Hunan. And so at lunch before the show, I'd go in there and I would start eating their meat pie. It was the most horrible thing on earth. Like, it was so delicious, but it gave me so much energy. And so I kind of watched my diet after that for many years, did very good for 30 years, and then had the event 5 years ago now. And I backed off all meat for quite a number of years. I would eat meat once every few months. I would eat lots of fish, lots of shrimp, which is beta cholesterol, by the way. Scallops, shrimp, pasta, vegetables, lots of chicken, organic chicken, cooking with a lot of loads of garlic and ginger and this and that. And then what happens in the winter, I start to crave meat when it gets cold outside. So what happened was about 2 weeks ago, I started in with the steak. I bought a steak, the hippie steak, 90% 10, farm raised. It went to school. The cow went to school. It has a PhD in meatology. And I cooked it. It was pretty enjoyable. And I smothered it in onions. But I found a new technique to smother that steak in onions, and I was very happy that I discovered it on my own. You don't pan fry the steak. No butter, by the way. I don't eat dairy, cream, butter. You do what you want. I don't have a dairy allergy. I'm lactase deficient. If you're not, God bless you. Soak yourself in cream, see if I care. So I use very little bit of the steak itself, and then a teeny bit of olive oil along the way. But I cooked onions and mushrooms on the side, not over the steak. You cook the onions and the mushrooms separately in a separate pan, and then you put all of that onto the steak near the end of the steak, and you mix it together at that point. So then I had the steak. Then I got a taste for meat, like you start to get a taste for blood, like a wild animal again. So I started doing too much meat over the last 3 weeks. And now my guests come out, and we go to this restaurant I like. Instead of me ordering the fish I always order, I ordered the beef bourguignon. And finally, my son says, Dad, you want to have another heart attack? Stop with the meat. And he was right. I mean, I was doing meat every night, which I hadn't done. So I'm off meat completely. And tonight, I have no craving for meat at all. No craving for shrimp, no craving. We ate too much rich food. I don't eat desserts, by the way. The key is never eat a dessert in your whole life. Desserts are the most poisonous thing on the planet. The healthiest people I know don't eat sugar and they don't eat meat. and they don't eat sweets. Sorry. The sugar disease is more deadly than the saturated fat disease. So you should know I've been off sugar since 18 years of age because I used to suffer migraine headaches as a child. I am talking medical level migraines where I have to go in a dark room. I would almost collapse from pain. And then when I was 18 and hanging around certain denizens in the areas of New York, I stumbled upon a book called Zen Macrobiotics in 1967. And it was George Osawa's great book, Zen Macrobiotics. So you see, the hippies knew some things. They weren't stupid about everything. They knew about food. So I stumbled on the book, and he started to teach that you can go on a thing called an elimination diet. And he said, if you suffer a particular ailment, start by eliminating one food after the other, not the same night. Eliminate that food from your diet for a certain period of time and see what happens. So I stumbled around and I eliminated all sweets for about 2 weeks, and my headaches went away. And I have almost never, ever suffered a migraine again. I can induce a migraine in myself by having sweets. It's sucrose that does it to me, not fructose. Fructose is a longer chain saccharide. Sucrose is a small chain saccharide. It's absorbed too rapidly. It goes to your brain too quickly. Sugar crosses the blood-brain barrier as fast as cocaine, which is why it's so addicting. Almost as fast as cocaine, which is why sucrose is so addictive, which is why they sweeten foods like that. Anyway, the long and short is I went off the sugar and I got off the headaches by and large, okay? Say, oh, Mike, don't you know that alcohol contains? Yes, I know. Alcohol breaks down into sugar. It's not the same rate as sucrose. You understand what I'm saying to you? I eliminated through the elimination diet, end of story. So I don't eat sweets. So at the long and short of tonight's show called Blues After the Feast, when the minute I turn this off tonight, I'm going to have a very simple dinner. It's going to be pasta with a little bit of extra virgin olive oil. Arbequina olives is what I like. I don't even want garlic tonight. I don't want anything strong. Maybe a teeny bit of cilantro on it. Chopped organic cilantro. Boom. That's the dinner. Pasta, oil, and cilantro. That's going to be my dinner with about a glass or two of red wine. And that's going to be it. Then I'm going to watch a show. I just watched a great show. Now we're finished with the music. Now we're going to go into, since I do news, views, and reviews, and I'm not ready to sign off yet. Most of you don't get Netflix. You say it's bad, so you're all against Netflix. I happen to love Netflix. I understand every show has a black lesbian hero or a gay child who's just the smartest person on earth and so happy. I get it. But I try to find the shows that don't have that. And what I stumbled upon a really good one called Amsterdam Empire. Did anyone see it? It's amazing. Amsterdam Empire is so good. It's the lead actress is stunningly beautiful and like a sexy, she's a MILF type, like in her 40s. And she was once a singer, dancer, pop star. So she's married to this guy who started out as just a pot owning a cafe in Amsterdam selling marijuana. And he becomes one of the kings of the marijuana empire in Amsterdam. I don't quite understand that it's legal, but not legal. And he's this rich guy and he lives with her. And then he tells her he's leaving her. He fell in love with some woman who interviewed him, a newscaster, younger, of course. And then the whole thing is about her and him fighting over the empire, who's going to get the money and what they do to each other after the divorce. Not the divorce, but they're broken up. He's going to marry a younger woman. And on top of it all, the younger woman's pregnant. He only knows her like a short period of time. And bango, she's pregnant. And the original wife is like, you don't know what hell is. Oh, this thing is written so well. You know, you want to see that this is like, it's like the War of the Roses in Dutch, okay, but better. If you like Amsterdam, you're in business. But I saw it, so it's finished. I can't watch it. I'm only recommending it. Now, what I'm going to tell you is another show you're not going to watch. It's too esoteric. It's too intellectual. It's too poetic. But I told you my favorite show in the history of shows in the top 5 is My Brilliant Friend, written by Elena Ferrante. I was so in love with that series that I went and got the trilogy. She's the most brilliant writer in American literature that I've read in years. I can't tell you anyone's better. She's a combination of Balzac. I don't know how else to describe how good she is. She combines some of the greatest writers that I've ever read, and she doesn't even exist. We don't know who she is. Elena Ferrante may be a man. The translator is Anne Goldstein. She translated all the books so superbly. The translators are the most unsung heroes in the world of literary fiction. And rather than reading it from the book, I recommend that you watch the series called My Brilliant Friend. I'm going to read you something in a minute. My Brilliant Friend. It's about two young girls who grow up poor in Naples, and it tracks them through their lives through the series. You can find it on Netflix now. I think they put it on Netflix. And I told you one of my favorite scenes is the wedding, the holiday scene in the Amalfi Coast. Unbelievable when he takes it to the hotel. It's so well done. God, I'm going to watch it maybe a little bit. In conclusion, he called me a girl concerned with hiding her lack of talent behind titillating pages of mediocre triviality. That was a reviewer, a critic. Who writes like this? See, so she sends a manuscript in to an editor, and she says, I was covered in a cold sweat while I read. I had the impression that I was close to fainting. My book was treated as an occasion to assert that in the past decade, in all areas of productive social and cultural life, from factories to offices to the university, publishing and cinema, an entire world had collapsed under the pressure of a spoiled youth without values. That's all one sentence. Occasionally, he cited some phrase of mine in quotation marks to demonstrate that I was a fitting exponent of my badly brought up generation. In conclusion, he called me, quote, a girl concerned with hiding her lack of talent behind titillating pages of mediocre triviality. I burst into tears. It was the harshest thing I had read since the book came out. Now, I'm giving you an example of literature, literary fiction, reviewers, and use of language that we don't have here in America. None. It doesn't exist. We don't even use our language. We grunt. We may as well be animals grunting compared to what this is all about. So now I'm going to give you an example of something else that's so important in this book. So she sends her, after she's a best-selling author, and I remember they grew up poor. The two friends, one is poor, they're both poor, and then they grow up in life. The one goes one way, one goes the other. They sort of stay in touch. But these girls were always in competition with each other. It's about female competition, unlike anything I've ever read. It's not like a love fest, darling, I love you. How are you? Oh, I love you. No. We're talking about anger and hatred and rage all through their childhood, all through their teen years, all through when they get married and they have children. It's astounding. Women will like it more than men. I don't know if it's a chick's book, but man, I loved it. What does it make me, gay? I don't know. How about it makes me a person who loves great literature? In America, we grunt. Most shows are grunting, like on a level of animals grunting in the field, like cows in the field. So now she's a famous author, you see, and she sends in her second or third novel, and she doesn't hear back from the publisher. And Adele is the publisher. I'm going to read you one paragraph, and I'm not going to then go beyond this. Ready? So she didn't hear from the publisher. Finally, a little before lunchtime, Adele telephoned. Adele is the editor. Her voice lacked its usual ironic inflection. She spoke slowly and seriously. I felt that every word was a struggle. She said, with a lot of euphemistic phrases and many fine distinctions, that the book wasn't good. But when I tried to defend it, she stopped looking for formulations that wouldn't hurt me and became explicit. You know what a sentence that is? The protagonist was unlikable. The characters were caricatures. Situations and dialogues were mannered. The writing tried to be modern and was only confused. All that hatred was unpleasant. The ending was crude, like a spaghetti western. It was an insult to my intelligence, my education, my talent. I resigned myself to silence. I listened to her criticisms to the end. She concluded by saying, the earlier novel was vivid, innovative. This, however, is old in its contents and so pretentiously written that the words seem empty. Oh my God. No one can write like this. But you see, this writing about what the editor said about the book is what I can tell you is what I think about most movies, films on Netflix. Politicians are exactly this. Listen to this. The protagonist was unlikable. That's all politicians. They're all unlikable. The characters were caricatures. Name one politician who isn't a caricature of himself. Situations and dialogues were mannered. That's every political speech, all mannered. The writing tried to be modern and was only confused. That sounds like every politician's speech or every movie I watch. All that hatred was unpleasant. Sounds like every politician today. The ending was crude, like a spaghetti western. That's every politician is like a spaghetti western to me now. And they're all an insult to my intelligence, my education, and my talent. Case closed. I'm done. So now Elena Ferrante, who is unknown, they don't know who she is. She's never been seen. Could be a man, they say. I suggest you watch it if you got nothing to do. But so at the back of one of the books, when I was reading it the other night, I read in the back of the book that she wrote another book after this series that I have to go get for you. I know this is not right to do. I'm going to go in the other room and get it, and then I swear it's the end. Could you bear with me? Do I have to? It'll take less than 60 seconds. I got to get the book. I swear it's worth your time. You want to be here? I'll be right back. I swear I'll be right back. Count to 60. 59, 58, 57, 56, 54, 53. Here's your master's voice. He's back. Your master's voice has returned. I may be the only one in the history of live streams who leaves the theater and hopes you'll still be there, because I don't plan this. So I read in the back of one of those novels, the Ferrante novels, that she wrote a book called The Lying Life of Adults. I said, holy God, I got to get this. What the hell is this book about? I'm not going to read the book to you. So I luckily I go online. There was one hardcover edition available for like a ridiculously low price, no less, brand new, unused. I like to read in hardcover because it reads better, it feels better for my body and eyes. So listen to the story. It's an amazing story, but it's only if you've had children, I think. Otherwise, maybe you wouldn't relate to it. So what it's about, the new novel from the author of My Brilliant Friend. Okay. I just want to find something to summarize it for you. The Lying Life of Adults. It's about a 14-year-old girl. She lives in a nice apartment with a good father and a good mother. He's a professor. She's a professor. She has a good life. They live in the hills of Naples. And, of course, there's another part of Naples, which is the slums with the crime. So one night, she's a gangly 14-year-old girl. And her father loves her. She loves her father. She overhears them talking. And she hears the father say that she, meaning the daughter, is becoming to look like my sister, the aunt she never met, who's kind of homely, ugly. And the girl goes to pieces. The girl cannot believe her father said that about her. Giovanna's pretty face has changed. It's turning into the face of an ugly, spiteful adolescent. But is she seeing things as they really are? Where must she look to find her true reflection and a life she can claim as her own? Giovanna's search takes her to two kindred cities that fear and detest one another. The Naples of the Heights, which assumes a mask of refinement, and the Naples of the Depths, a place of excess and vulgarity. Adrift, she vacillates between these two cities, falling into one, then climbing back to the other. but neither city seems to offer her any answers. So it's about this girl, as I said to you, a young girl transitioning from childhood to adolescence to adulthood, and she's trying to find herself, and she thinks that she's ugly now because her father, she thinks, says she looks like the aunt, his sister, who he doesn't talk to anymore. So then she goes down to the depths of Naples to meet the aunt for the first time. And of course, you know what happens. The aunt, who is supposed to be detestable, who lives in the poor neighborhood, turns out to be someone she admires like crazy, because she drives, smokes and drives and curses, and she's just out there, right? Now a kid likes that kind of stuff. So that's what this is about. And it's also on Netflix. And I watched the whole thing all the way to the end, to where the girl uh, becomes a woman, so to speak. For those of you who know what I'm talking about, we don't have to get stupid or childish or Beavis and Buttheaderish. The girl becomes a woman, and it's how she evolves in her view of herself, which, even if you're a man, you can relate to. If you're a man with a big enough mind to see the world through the eyes of a girl or a woman, then you'll be a bigger man, by the way. And then you can probably love a woman if you can understand how a woman sees the world. And this may be as close as you're going to get to seeing how a woman sees the world, is through the eyes of this character, this young girl, this 14-year-old girl. All the way, I'm not going to give you the ending, but it's so different than anything we could do in America. I would suggest no one could write this kind of book in America at all. It would have to be vulgar. It would have to be sex on every page. She'd have to turn into some, barroom slut. It's horrible. I mean, just everything here is grotesque in the country lately. It's not that I'm trying to act like I'm cool. I come from a poor family, but it's not like I'm Mr. Refinement. Believe me, I'm not. But I do have a certain degree of integrity about my brain, and I don't like it insulted. And what I see going on is like an intangible reality for me. It's like I can't even relate to it lately. So, my friends, if I had a drum, I would give you the last drum beat, because that's it for the night. That's it for the night. 50 words of English, you got it. I once did a mock rap song 10 years ago on the radio. That says it all. My song, 50 Words of English. I speak 50 words of English, and I got 50 mil in the bank, jank. That's the music, okay? That's the music. And what's literature today? Can you name one novel? Can you name one writer? Can you name one author? Who's your Hemingway? Where is he? There is no Hemingway anymore. There's no Coltrane anymore. There's nothing. I mean, what's here? The music's dead. I don't understand the music. You think rubbing your crotch is music? The halftime shows is music? It's like a bad burlesque. It's worse than Minsky's was, by what I see. So I do have one more thing to say. This is going to take shorter than the last. This will be 10 seconds. Bear with me 10 seconds. I'm just in the mood to talk a little bit more. Here we go. So many years ago, you see, a friend of mine who I love very dearly, who's very sick right now, who will be unnamed, a man of great sensibilities, who grew up like I did and became a very famous person, gave me a gift called the Blue Note, the Collector's Edition. He knew I love jazz, and he gave me this one. Now listen to the names: Cannonball Adderley, Art Blakey and the Jazz Messengers, Kenny Burrell, Donald Byrd, Paul Chambers, Sonny Clark, John Coltrane, Eric Dolphy, etc. Dexter Gordon. Maybe you know some of these names. Herbie Hancock, you probably know. Freddie Hubbard, Hank Mobley, Jackie McLean. These names are not lost. Thelonious Monk. Anyone know who these people are? Lee Morgan, the Sidewinder, Bud Powell, Sonny Rollins, A Night at the Village Vanguard. I went to the Village Vanguard. I saw Lenny Bruce there. I drank a Russian. What the hell was that called? Black Russian. It was horrible. Wayne Shorter, Horace Silver, Songs for My Father, a killer. Jimmy Smith. But Horace Silver's Song for My Father, I wish I had the ability to play some of these songs for you and do a whole show on the music and what it's meant to me in my life and how it's kept me going through my darkest times. Music has always been my salvation. Like tonight, I was in the blues phase. Everyone went home. I'm alone. I went down to Sausalito to get the wine, and it's cold. And There's no one on the streets. So I have wonderful, thank God I have Apple Music on my phone. I played Cuban jazz, and it was really astounding. Brought back a lot of beautiful feelings. Music fills my soul. Literature fills my soul. Great movies fill my soul. Food fills my soul. Cooking fills my soul. And of course, speaking to you, my ever loving audience, thank you for being here, is really important to me. You are my second family. And I wish I could be with you tonight in a gigantic hall, and we were all having a huge, gargantuan feast together. And then I would get off the stage now, and the music would come up. We'd have one of these bands play, and Teddy would be alive, and Snowy would be alive, and Tippy would be alive, and Mama would be alive, and Papa would be alive, and everyone we know would be alive. Everyone in our brain who we loved who was gone would be alive. But it ain't gonna happen, kiddo. No, siree, Bob. It's gonna be me and the pasta and the red wine. So thank you for being here. I appreciate it very much. Until we meet again,